Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Chirag Vanya from the Department of Prosthodontics and Crown and Bridge from Narsibhai Patel Dental College and Hospital, constituent college of the Sakarchand Patel University. I welcome you all for the e-Vidya lectures, and today I will be discussing about the different components of the removable partial denture. So let's begin with the lecture. In this lecture, we will learn about the, it is an introductory lecture about the different components of removable partial denture, because fabrication of removable partial denture is a little bit of tricky part. Unlike complete denture, in removable partial denture, we have to plan and position the each and every component precisely so that it can improve the treatment outcome for the patient and also gives the utmost aesthetic in the removable partial denture. So what is a removable partial denture? Basically a denture which replaces the some missing teeth in the patient's mouth, and it can easily or readily removed by the patient at his or her will. So it defined as a removable denture that replaces some teeth in partially edentulous arch, and the removable partial denture can be readily inserted and removed from the mouth by patient. Means it is a type of prosthesis which can removed by the patient and it replaces the some missing teeth, not the all missing teeth. Okay. In removable partial denture, various components are used and each one has a specific function. The design, position and location of each component vary according to the individual needs. It is, we can say, a customized treatment plan for a patient. Now, this removable partial denture has certain different components. These components are major connector, minor connector, direct retainer, indirect retainer, rest, denture base and artificial teeth. We will learn about these each and every components in a future consecutive lectures, because this is a introductory lecture where we introduce you with the different components. In future lectures you will learn about the what is major connector, what is minor connector and what is direct retainer and indirect retainer in details. Okay, so in this picture you can say see that how different components are used in a fabrication of a single removable partial denture, or we can say a cast partial denture. It has a major connector, a minor connector, occlusal rest, glass assembly, denture base and artificial teeth. Okay, so let's move forward to the our first component, which is a major connector. So it is the most important and the largest component in the removable partial denture. So it is defined as the part of removable partial denture that joins the component on the one side of the arch to the component on the opposite side of the arch. And it is the major connector are also two types, a maxillary one and the mandibular one. Means maxillary major connectors and mandibular major connectors. It is the largest and most important component of the removable partial denture. It connects the different components from the one side of the arch to the another side, and the primary function of this major connector is to provide the unification in the removable partial denture, provides the rigidity, and it also provides the indirect retention to the prosthesis or our cast partial denture. Now, a maxillary major connector. A maxillary major connector has a various different types, like palatal bar major connector, palatal strap major connector, anterior posterior palatal bar, anterior posterior palatal strap, complete palate and horseshoe shaped major connectors. Same like these maxillary major connectors, mandibular major connectors also have a various types like lingual bar major connector, lingual plate major connector, Kennedy's bar or a double lingual bar, sublingual bar major connector, labial bar major connector, and a continuous bar, or we can say a cingulum bar major connectors. So these all major connectors are used for the unification of the different components of the removable partial denture, plus it provides the rigidity and it also provides the indirect retention and comfort to the patient. So according to patient's requirement, according to how many edentulous area is present, how many teeth are missing, so on the basis of this thing we choose utmost major connector for the patient. Now the next component is the minor connector. So the function of the minor connector is to connect the major connector with the other components of the removable partial denture like clasp assembly, occlusal rest, denture base and artificial teeth. So it defined as a connecting link between the major connector or base of a removable partial denture and the other units of the prosthesis such as the clasp assembly, indirect retainers, occlusal rest or the cingulum rest. So it is the main act as a connecting link between the major connector and other different components of removable partial denture. Now the functions of the minor connector. So the main function of the minor connector is to transfer the stresses evenly to the all components by connecting these different components with the major connector. It also transmits the forces acting on the prosthesis to the edentulous ridge and remaining natural teeth. So how it transfers these occlusal forces? So as we learned in previous slide, it connects the different components. So the occlusal forces which comes on the occlusal table of the artificial teeth, which is transferred to the residual alveolar ridge, and the occlusal rest will transfer the other occlusal forces to the periodontal ligament of the natural tooth. So by connecting all the components, this minor connector transfers the occlusal rest to the throughout the mandibular or maxillary arches. Now these minor connectors are divided in four types. The first is it connects the clasp assembly to the major connector. Second is it joins the indirect retainer to the major connector. Third, it joins the denture base to the major connector, and last one is serves as an approach arm for the bar types of the clasp. Here you can see all the four types of minor connectors. Okay, it connects the clasp assembly, indirect retainer, denture base, and also the clasp assembly serves as approach arm. Okay, approach arm for the bar type of the clasp. Bar type of the clasp are the I bar, T bar, or bar type of the clasp assembly. Okay, now the next component is the direct retainer. Okay, so the main function of the direct retainer is to provide the retention to the prosthesis. It defined as that component of a removable partial denture is used to retain and prevent the dislodgement and consists of a clasp assembly or a precision attachment. Okay, so direct retainer acts as a main retentive component of a removable partial denture. It is a part of the removable partial denture RPD which helps to prevent the dislodgement of the denture. It is a most critical component of the RPD. Okay, now This direct retainer is also divided in different class, like intracoronal and extracoronal direct retainer. In intracoronal direct retainer, we have a precision attachment and semi-precision attachments. In extracoronal direct retainers, we have attachments and retentive clasp assembly. This retentive clasp assembly further divided in two types. One is the suprabulge and another one is the infrabulge. In previous slide, you have seen this infrabulge clasp. Okay, approach arm minor connector which connects the infrabulge clasp to the major connector. So this is the infrabulge clasp which is a direct retainer for the prosthesis. Now this is the diagram of the basic component or the parts of the clasp assembly, which are the body of the clasp, rest, retentive arm and reciprocal arm. The retentive arm is also divided in retentive arm and retentive arm terminal, which provides the direct retention to the removable partial denture. It prevents the dislodgement or the removal of the prosthesis. Now, a next component of the removable partial denture or RPD is indirect retainer. It is defined as the component of removable partial denture that assists the direct retainers in preventing dislodgement of the distal extension denture base by functioning through lever action on the side opposite of the fulcrum line when the denture base moves away from the tissue in pure rotation around the fulcrum line. Let's discuss in detail in the next slide. Like they said that preventing the displacement of a distal extension denture base by functioning through lever action on the opposite side of the fulcrum line when denture base moves away. Here they show the fulcrum line. So here is the indirect retainers which are the away from the fulcrum line or the opposite side of the edentulous area. So when this fulcrum line created, around this fulcrum line rotatory movement will happen and indirect retainer will prevent this rotatory movement, and by preventing this rotary movement they improves the retention of the prosthesis. So that's why it is known as the indirect retainer. Now the next component of our RPD is the occlusal, or we can say a rest. A rest is any rigid part of a RPD framework which connects a properly prepared surface of a tooth. A rest preparation or rest set is any portion of a tooth or a restoration properly prepared to receive a rest. So the main function of this rest is to prevent the vertical movement of the prosthesis. By preventing this vertical movement, it prevents the soft tissue injury of the underlying cast partial dentures like gingival margin around the abutment tooth. It also resists the movement of the prosthesis in cervical direction or a downward direction. It also helps to hold the clasp assembly in the position. There are three types of occlusal rest are there. There are three types of rest in the RPD. One is the occlusal rest, second is the lingual rest, and third is the incisal rest. Occlusal rest given on the posterior teeth like premolar and molar. Lingual rest are given on the anterior teeth like incisors and the canine, and incisal rest given on the incisal edges of the anterior teeth. Now our next component is the denture base. So part of a denture that rests on the foundation tissue and to which teeth are attached. Basically, it is made up of acrylic material and it connects the artificial teeth to the our RPD prosthesis, and it also helps us in the stress distribution process. When opposite forces are directed downward through the artificial teeth, this denture-based material will transfer these opposite forces to the residual ridge area, and by this all the occlusal forces are transferred to the major surface area, which prevents the dislodgement of the prosthesis and also prevents the residual ridge resorption. Okay, and our last component is the artificial teeth. Okay, so the functions of the artificial teeth are prevent the migration of the remaining teeth, restore the masticatory efficiency, retain a proper inter-arch space, maintain the aesthetic of a normal facial contour, and achieve distinct pronunciation. By replacing artificial teeth, we restore the main primary function, which is the masticatory function. Second is the phonetics. By replacing anterior teeth, we improve the aesthetic as well as the speech of a patient. And different types of material is available for the artificial teeth. One is the acrylic, which is a most commonly used material for the replacement of natural teeth. Second is the porcelain teeth, which is used in sometimes where function as well as the high aesthetic demand is there for patient. And the last type is the metal one, which is a gold or a chrome metal. So these three types of teeth are used. So these all are the different components of the removable partial denture. Let's revise it little bit again. The first component is the major connector, second is the minor connector, third is the direct retainer, fourth is the indirect retainer, fifth one is the rest, then comes the denture base and the artificial teeth. So by combining these all different components of removable partial denture, we fabricate a removable partial denture for a patient which restore the function, aesthetic and speech of the patient. Okay, thank you so much everyone.